So there's some big cheering and shouting here. The Hawthorn fans come with a lot of expectancy, trying to break the succession of wins for the Blues. And Shane Crawford won the toss and elected to kick to the main scoreboard end here at the MCG. And I think we will see a beauty.
Yeah, just in the centre, Robbo, Woods, Chick and Harford for Hawthorn, and Campriali, Ratton and Bradley.
And Crawford's picking up Craig Bradley. Bradley's gone to full forward.
Porter early, over the top of Salmon, gathered by Chick. A little bit of space there for Daniel Chick. Kick across his left shoulder, bounces quite nicely. Lekas gets the handball over the top. Chance for Woods, playing his 150th game. Tony Woods. Down goes Anthony Rock, kicked forward by Lekas, but the boundary umpire right on the scene down here in front of the commentary box has decided that Angelo Lekas was over the boundary line, so he will throw it in on centre wing.
And Silvani's pushed out to centre-half back, and he's picking up Nick Holland, who's been in All-Australian type form.
One of the best midfielders in the business, Brett Ratton, away to Dean Rice. Already mentioned about Dean Rice's achievements in AFL football. The kick by Rice to half forward. Contest for the Blues. Kicked away by Tallis. Back into the middle of the ground. Mark taken by Lekas. Handball wide. The Hawks are on the move. Wood's short kick is pretty good. And the mark is taken close to ground level by Nick Holland.
Got Chick running with Koutafidis, and looks like McCabe's on Campriali at this stage.
Too far out to score, one would think. Striving for the extra distance, the kick across the face there of goal, forced over by the Carlton defence for the first score of the game. A rush behind to Hawthorn.
And Daniel Harford, who's had a very good season for the Hawks in the middle of the ground, has been picked up by Franchina, who has also been a great stopper for the Blues this year.
Kick in by Christou, found Beaumont. Oh, gee, that was a good attempt at a mark there by Whitnell. Gathered by Franchina, kicks a little blindly, lobs the ball at the forward 50 area, gathered by Fletcher, away to Hamill. Hamill goes in, and the first goal on the scoreboard of the Blues, kicked by Aaron Hamill.
Smart move by young Fletcher. He took possession of the ball. Hamill actually did a great job in shepherding out for him, and then Fletcher knew that he was about to be tackled, that Hamill had got clear, and he went on and kicked a pretty good goal. Here's Franchina bombing the ball in. There's the shepherd. Hamill gets himself free. Fletcher just lobs it up into his path, and the conversion was first class.
It's a good start too, Jared, from Franchina. Obviously, you know, he probably would have expected to pick up Crawford if he was starting on the ball, but now he's got a lesser of opponent, Harford. We'll see what happens. I'm sure it'll change as it transpires.
Instinctive handball from Fletcher led to the goal. Kicked by Aaron Hamill. Carlton a goal. Lead Hawthorn a behind. Angelo Lekas on screen.
Big job here for Porter as well on Salmon.
Umpire Brian Sheehan with his two assistants, Stuart Wen and Kieran Nichols. Kick forward again by Woods. Vacant half-forward area. Clean bowls about 5 players in that area. Back goes Holland, overruns the ball. Spillage nearly gathered. Now it is by McKay. Handball Fletcher. Ball moving pretty quickly away from Beaumont to O'Reilly. Then in turn to Ratton, who kicks beautifully off the left. Whitnell gets rid of his opponent. Then the little hand pass. Koutafidis back to Whitnell. Knocked away. Well done by Jonathan Hay. Ball finishes with Chick. Taken over by Camparelli. And the boundary umpire will throw it in. Players now at this stage of the season, I think from your point of view, Jared and Jim, got to be a bit careful with that sort of thing. Scott Camparelli don't need to be reported.
Very true, with only 5 weeks to the final series.
Gathered again by Ratton, his third possession. The game only 3 minutes old. Porter, Hickmott, Woods on Ratton at the moment. The kick by Hickmott to half forward. Mark has been taken by Trent Houghton, who has been terrific for the Blues. The kick is just a little high. Back there for Bradley. Crawford. Salmon back there working hard. Franchina. Hickmott. Look at Bradley. He's found space and he's got the Blues' second goal. Well, it was just forced clear, wasn't it? The ball was just spilled out in the finish to Craig Bradley.
Well, I think it was Hickmott that just put his head down and said, well, I'll make the channel. He picked up the ball, he went charging through, ran into a bit of a brick wall and laid it off to Bradley. But Trent Houghton, what a player he's been, a really good pickup. And Shane O'Sullivan, the recruiting manager for the Blues, should take the credit. There he goes, Hickmott. And Bradley converts their second quick goal.
It's an interesting place to start Bradley down at full forward. Obviously Crawford liking played his best footy winning the Brownlow down there.
Well, it's a double plus. Bradley will kick goals down there, and it drags Crawford from the midfield, and that's perhaps their biggest weakness. They need his run through the middle of the ground. I think they would have anticipated Bradley being on a half back flank.
Yep.
Crawford was going to take him, but they've put him in. They've put the Carlton coaching panel in control there.
Well, big crowd in at the MCG for this clash between Hawthorn, currently 8th, and the Blues second on the ladder, clearly second on the ladder. McCabe goes for goal for the Hawks, just swings away at the last minute and out of the reach there of Ben Dixon, who nearly looked as though he's going to rake it in with the left hand, through for a behind to the Hawks.
You'd nearly say he should have taken that. He just held out Bowen there pretty well, just not being able to pull it in with the left hand.
And the Blues are clustering in the middle of the ground and breaking wide as you have a look, but Ange Christou finally picks out a pretty good option.
I reckon if there's a child born, it'll be Ange Koutafides, won't it? Somewhere along the line with those two boys. They're great mates and great footballers for the Blues. Hawthorn under pressure across half-back. Already the signs are obvious that they're really missing Trent Crode, who was a last-minute replacement. Oh, player on his own, Hickmott. Rice back onto the right, not really confident off the left. Kick in towards the forward pocket region. Houghton, Hamill. Can he break the tackle? Wide into Lappin. Lappin's kick to the front of the goals. A contest here. The Hawks under pressure. Kicked away in the finish, but only as far as Rice. He's run down, got the handball away. Oh, Franchina, well done. Houghton's handball. Crawford, they're onto it quickly. The Blues in numbers. Hickmott again. Under pressure in the right back pocket of the Hawthorn side, and Crawford takes it over. Harford may get a free kick. No, Harford, it's against him for kneeing his opponent in that contest, and the recipient will be Trent Houghton, and Harford's not happy.
Well, it looks like, sorry, Jared, yeah, no, it looks like he was holding on to him.
Well, the umpire threw his knee in there, Jim, as if he was indicating that it was an indiscriminate tackle. We might see it after this kick from Trent Houghton. He's deep in the left forward pocket. We will see it now. Now, what was all that about? If there was a free kick in that, you wonder where the free kick came from.
Put a saddle on.
This is out in primary school, in school of sports.
Oh, pretty good kick, hit the post. So 2 goals won the Blues. A couple of rush behinds to the Hawks. Carlton lead by 11 points.
Jerry, do you think that Daniel Chick is up for the job on Koutafides, considering he started on Buckley last week and didn't quite handle it quite well?
Well, look, you've got to make some choices, and from the choices, you come up with the most logical solution. I can't think of anybody, Jimmy, that's going to do a better job for the Hawks at this stage. Trent Crode may have been able to run with him, but he could well be exposed by taking him forward and playing a full forward or centre half forward.
Well, Lance Piccioni accepted the kick in. That's Nathan Thompson on screen, and Piccioni's kick was quite easily mopped up between left half forward and left centre wing for the Hawks. Forced a boundary throw in.
Well, Franchina, you saw that, holding on to Harford. If it's a ruckman, they get a free kick. I'm not sure why not ruck rovers.
Chick goes for goal for the Hawks, and the first goal on the scoreboard to Hawthorn. Piccioni started the play.
You've got to say there, if you want to put pressure on the Koutafides, that's the best way to answer it. It's to kick goals, and then you make him have to worry about you. And it's one thing with Koutafides this year is he's been able to play his own game and run his own race. And when you can attack and get something out of a throw-in, as you see here, just holding the players out, great play just to get the ball forward. Holland holding out Silvani, and then Chick getting free and kicking a good goal.
Well, we're back after that short break. Just prior to that, we saw Daniel Chick kick the first goal for Hawthorn, but Lance Piccioni, he's had a couple of possessions already and did well to get that ball clear for Nick Holland, who eventually gave it to Chicks. The Hawks are on the run again. Koutafides intercepts, then handballs to his own advantage. Back he goes to Rice. Rice into the middle, and the mark is taken by Hickmott. Quickly handballs it on to Franchina. Franchina to half forward, and Whitnell strong, wasn't it? That was a really strong mark. The kick coming in was a bit of a mongrel punt kick, but Lance Whitnell judged it well and has marked well within scoring distance.
Well, he took 13 marks last week, kicked 9 goals. So he's going to be tough today. If he can get in front, there's always going to be a chance of grabbing the footy.
Well, he's kicking from about 35 metres. Angle, well, not really a concern, and he mops it up beautifully. First goal to Whitnell, third to the Blues. Took the Hawks a little while to get their first goal, and the Blues, the 3 goals they've kicked, all look as though they've been rather elementary, Jim.
Yeah, although the first couple, like, they really worked hard to get the ball forward. You know, there was a turnover in the back line. Again, here, they just brought the ball out from half back with Koutafidis, and they set themselves up with a good forward by bringing the ball through the corridor. And really, that's where you win games in modern footy, if you can use that corridor well.
Well, this is a young man on the rise. He's only played 83 games, but he's kicked 174 goals. Made his debut only a few years ago, 1977, and he's still a pup. 1997, I should say, Robert.
Well, it's been knocked forward for Hawthorn, and it's 55, 50 metres from their goal. Combination of hand passes, Ratton to Fletcher. Fletcher's kick hurriedly across that half-back line in front of Lappin. It goes over for a boundary throw-in. 19 plays 8. Carlton lead.
And Kuta has now taken Daniel Chick to full forward. One out in the square. You just can't see Daniel Chick going with him.
No, I wouldn't. I think they'll probably have to make a change.
You must keep the pressure. If that circumstance arises, you must keep the pressure on the players delivering the ball. And if it comes down too simply, you would think that he would win 9 out of the 10 contests, Anthony Koutafidis. Physically, well, he's much bigger, isn't he? And strong. Well, not necessarily stronger, but he certainly looks as though he's got the assets in his favour.
Well, Kuta's pushed up again now. He's just rotated with Whitnell.
Well done there by Porter. He was out-positioned by Salmon, but got the hand on the ball and eventually taken over for the Hawks by Crawford.
He's done quite well so far, Porter, considering he struggled last week, I thought. But he's really given Salmon a bit of a challenge in there.
Salmon got first hand to it there. Woods dispossessed. Camporelli wide. Koutafidis, well done, Crawford. Knocked it clear. That was maybe deemed as a throw. Now the Blues nearly away. Surely that's going to come back. I had the feeling that umpire Brian Sheehan signalled first that it was the advantage to Carlton, but when the Carlton player breaking away was caught, he's brought the ball back to Hickmott. He goes in towards the middle of the ground where Hamill has taken it. Hamill hooks the kick towards half forward. Hacked out of there, but only as far as O'Reilly. Left foot kick by O'Reilly. Lappin, gee, the bounce was kind to Matthew Lappin. Kicks to the front of the goals. Well done, Chick. Very well done. If Hawks attack the ball like that, they won't be disgraced in this game. Well done, Daniel Chick. Got the ball wide where Thompson is marked in front of O'Reilly.
And it was a strong mark. He was slightly off balance. Jumped off his non-preferred jumping leg, it looked like, but he still dragged it down.
Kicks in the direction of, but only favoured. It was too high there for Piccioni.
Isn't it interesting how Thompson's come so far up the ground to get a kick, and then Whitnell's dropped back. Received it.
Contest between 2 Hawthorn players there for the mark. It was Salmon and Jonathan Hay. Eventually, the umpire has paid the mark to Paul Salmon. He can go across the ground in towards centre half-back proper. This is Rawlings. Rawlings for Hawthorn. Kicks it long out towards the left half-forward area. Dean Rice, not a really tall man, but very good overhead. Handball Silvani. Bradley, the playmaker, squeezes the kick down towards Fletcher. The kick really was a little too high there for Fletcher, and getting back with a slight height advantage, Jonathan Hay has marked quite safely. Feeds it off to Rawlings. In turn to Salmon. Hawks still inside their defensive 50. Salmon just holding play up, could go to Rawlings. Goes just a little longer to Barker. Well tackled by Hickmott. Ball spills in front of Rawlings and Christou over for a boundary throw-in about 65, 70 metres from the Carlton goal.
It's interesting now. Bradley's come up and Piccioni is actually picking him up on. It looks like he's playing on the wing now.
Boundary throw-in, left half forward for the Blues. Salmon a little stronger there. Well played, Hamill. Tried to get the hand pass away. disputed ball there, and Brian Sheehan will bounce. It's again about 60 metres from the Carlton goal, left half forward area.
And the matchup, obviously, we've been looking forward to. It's actually starting to come about. Crawford now has gone on Campriali.
So the umpire to bounce the ball. Salmon reads it better, gets his hands onto it. Gathered here by Ratton. Tried to get a foot to it. Gathered by Bradley. Kicks it. Bounces awkward for Salmon. Porter's over the top. Oh, umpire Sheehan. Come on.
Fell on the ball, didn't he?
Fell on the ball, and it was, if it was going to be locked in, it was the easy way out to give the free kick to Paul Salmon. Salmon now lands the ball at centre wing. Good mark at the back by Whitnall. He's playing all the way up near the middle of the ground. Already taken 3 marks. Feeds it off to Bradley. Bradley goes very long. Good kick, wasn't it? A great kick by Bradley. Fletcher has taken the mark. But, by gee, when you get the ball and deliver it with precision like that, it makes it extremely difficult for the opposition.
Just had the extra legs. And he's a pretty fair shot at goal. You'd expect this one to go through.
And there's been a good pick-up too for the Blues. He just gets it through. The 4th goal on the scoreboard for the Blues. Simon Fletcher kicks his first. They're all singles to Carlton. Hamill, Whitnall, Bradley and Fletcher.
Yeah, and that's Piccioni. I'm not too sure whether that's a good matchup on Bradley. Just giving him a little bit of space. It's the 2nd time now Bradley's come through the middle and been able to deliver to a forward. Obviously the last time it was cut off, but you see here again, just coming down the wing and being able to find an opponent too easy. Teammate.
Goals to Hamill, Whitnall, Bradley and Fletcher. And the goal kicker for Hawthorn was Daniel Chick. Terrific bounce. A lot of conjecture about the centre bounces at Colonial Stadium, but by gee, the umpires get good height when they bounce the ball in the middle of the MCG. Rice has been terrific already, coming up for his 6th possession. Feeds it off to Bradley. Bradley, again, kicking in towards half forward. Punched away from Aaron Hamill by Mark Graham.
Porter coming from the ground. Glenn Manton on, which means that may well be Cooter that's gone into the ruck.
Whitnall doing the ruck work in the forward line. Ratton dispossessed by Leckus. Piccioni showed a bit of strength to attack the footy. Leckus got his hands onto it. Well done, Rice. Terrific, Rice on Bowyer. Ratton back to Hickmott. Hickmott across his body. Drops it a little short. Mark taken by Harford. Harford in the middle of the MCG. Kicks in towards half forward. Providing the marking contest was very important, and the Blues at ground level just swoop on it. This contest in a couple of weeks against the Bombers is just going to, you just have to be here, right? The way the Blues are going and the way the Bombers are going, if you miss out, well, you've missed out on something special. I know it's 2 weeks away and we've still got a fair bit of this football match to be played, but by gee, they're both looking terrific. Whitnall kicks it forward. The advantage was with the Blues. Lapping the crummer. He's at ground level. Chance there for the Blues again through Fletcher. Franchina's hand pass. Chopped off by Daniel Harford, and the Hawks get clear. Harford's quick kick goes out towards the wing. Rice again, but Ratton, beautiful hands by Ratton. Whitnall in towards half forward, Lappin at the back. Hamill gathers, handball's wide, Camporelli. High kick by Scott Camporelli goes back to the goal square, and the mark is taken back there by Thompson.
Who's pushed onto the ball, and O'Reilly's gone with him.
And Salmon's come off, Vandenberg's gone on the ground. So obviously, I think what's happened was Salmon was pushing forward, so they give Porter a chance to have a rest. Both of them obviously not as fit. Porter just coming back from an injury, probably needs a few breaks.
Mark Graham with the football. He's at full back.
Oh,
Mark is taken by Holland. And Silvani getting up just a little slowly from that marking contest. Oh, terrific mark taken by Barker. Away to Tallis. Left foot kick by Tallis, nearly gathered by Bradley, but the umpire out there in control of the circumstance, the boundary umpire that is, has indicated that it is out of bounds left half forward for Hawthorn.
It's been a couple of strange decisions, like just down the other end when Lance Whitnall had the ball. He was caught high and the umpire said play on, but there was no advantage. just kick the ball high inside 50.
Fair point. We just saw there Stephen Silvani. He's a long way off the play here. He's back towards the half-forward area for Carlton and still recovering. Fletcher will kick it in his direction. Going back, couldn't get to the marking contest, and it's been taken by Lekas.
Yeah, off the ball, Sauce threw himself at a pack, but the pack opened up and he found himself in mid-air and landed pretty heavily.
Chick doing well on Koutoufides. Chick has had 5 kicks. Mark taken by Crawford. Crawford is, very ordinary kick by Shane Crawford standards. Dean Rice, he kept the ball in front of himself beautifully, then fell over, but backing up was Manton. Handball wide to Fletcher. Back to McKay. Little hand pass. Manton has followed it on well. Silvani looking for someone in support. It's Fletcher. Short kick by Fletcher into the middle. Hickmott. Good signs when you look as though you've got more players on the ground than the opposition. Hickmott across the half-forward line. Whitnell, he'll give it off. Maybe flirting with his form a little bit. O'Reilly goes back. But the good fortune for the Blues is that Bradley is supported by Fletcher. The ball spills to the back. Bowyer's handball. Rock's kicking towards the full forward area, and the hook forced the turnover and take advantage. The mark is taken by Dixon, and Ben Dixon will score because he's a beautiful kick of the football.
It's great eyes there. Like, he obviously looked up, saw that there was a bit of space there on the far side inside 50, but really good turnover. I think it was Piccioni in the middle there. Just wrapped him up. Good tackle. Forced a turnover.
Actually, I gave Bowyer a bit of credit. I think it might have been Vandenberg that was in there too, Jim, in that little contest. The kick by Dixon gets the required distance, but not the accuracy, and scores the third behind for the Hawks. They're 1-3-9, trailing the Carlton side, who are 4-1-25. And we've played 21 minutes of the first term. Kick by Koutoufides. Lappin. Don't know whether he quite meant that. Franchina. Back to Lappin, just a little blindly, but to the advantage of Bradley. If the Shepherd can be provided here, the opportunity is with Ratton. To Bradley. Crawford to run him down, but Bradley got his left foot to it. Bounces in front of Hamill. Away to Bradley. Watch this. Watch this. Right to the goal line. And the marker's being paid to Graham. By gee, that ball looked as though it was going all the way through for a goal to Bradley, but Graham kicks it out wide. That's a free kick, isn't it?
Yep.
Jumping too early. It might have been Dixon. Now the play is allowed to go on. Rice kicks it into the pocket, and O'Reilly has marked. Short kick. Whitnell out in front of his face, gathers, and then kicks across his left shoulder. A bit of an up and under. Has it gone the required distance? Because the mark should be, and he's paid to Jonathan Hay.
Well, Craig Bradley, a remarkable athlete he is. Already he's picked up 7 possessions. Simon Fletcher's having a great start to this match, Robbo. You've liked him for some time. He's got 8 possessions. Whitnell's getting rucker over type stats also with 7 touches of the footy.
How did Silvani get that? How did Stephen Silvani
like this one,
get
the
that?
crowd.
That was absolutely amazing. That's a goal to the Blues. He was completely out of position, but he never gave up, and that's the key, isn't it? In football, no matter where you are on the ground, never give up.
And he's doing such a great job on Holland. He's pushing Holland up the ground all the time. There's obviously, there's not a whole lot coming inside 50, so Holland's forced to come up the ground, and that gives Silvani a chance to get into the play. But terrific there just to play on. What an inspirational goal. Your teammates can kick them from 50 and retrieve the ball back like that. Doesn't kick too many from the back line either.
Well, Gerard, it wasn't that long ago that we saw him puffing and huffing from that marking contest where he crashed to the ground, and that was a terrific passage of play by Stephen Silvani.
No, good recovery. He likes that position on the MCG, Robbo. You'd remember that mark of the year he took there when he was just a pup, and since those days he's played 285 games, kicked 183 goals, and is the fullback of the century. The last century, that is.
Hand pass there, just a little emphatic, but the Blues will get clear. Massey onto the ground, kicks it right up in towards the full forward area. Whitnell is unselfish. Camporelli. Goal of the Blues. They're absolutely rattling the Hawks in the early part of this big clash at the MCG.
Well, you can't take the accelerator off when you're playing against a team like this, and if you give them a little bit of a gap in the door, they'll just push it open as far as they can. And already in the first quarter they've kicked 6 goals, and it's it's pretty difficult to stop an onslaught like this when they got so many blokes through the centre, and particularly when you're winning it in the centre clearances. It's gone straight into your 50-metre line, and with Whitnell down there and a few of his mates, Campriali running forward as hard as he is, it's just a fearsome combination.
Been impressed by their want to share the ball. Starts with Brett Ratton in the middle of the ground. He's getting it out. Hickmott's doing a lot of the hard work. You just see them there competing together. They've gone in only 6 times, the Hawks, to their forward 50. The Blues are already up to 14.
Piccioni kicks the ball out wide.
Well
Anthony Rock tries to keep it alive, but the Blues keep their footing, which was important in that passage of play. Handball by Beaumont, goes out wide. Hickmott had his eye on the ball, didn't quite finish it off. Gathered by Dixon for Hawthorn. Handball forward. Now Piccioni kicks it in towards half forward. Absolutely clean bowls, Nick Holland. Back goes Silvani. Handball wide, Franchina. Bit of an unsung hero. Christou, go Jared.
Always got the extra numbers there, Robbo. Players from the middle charging down to help the defence, and it turns into shots at goal.
And here's Fletcher. One wonders if there's anyone playing on Simon Fletcher. Trent Houghton from 50 metres. Another goal of the Blues. 7 on the scoreboard. Still 2.5 minutes left in the term. Well, I reiterate, you always look good when you look as though you've got more than 18 players on the ground, and that's exactly what's happening with the Blues so far in this term.
Yes, but just getting extra numbers. I think Franchina is one of those important players in getting extra help towards the contest. He peels off the opponent he's actually tagging or closing down, and he gets into the fence, adds the numbers, and well, the shots at goal happen.
And the other one I want to throw in is when you have a ruckman that's injured like Allen, and you've got a Porter coming in, he's on the bench, and now you've got Houghton in the ruck, and he's able to run forward and get an easy goal. It certainly adds to your midfield.
Well, the Hawks have got a chance here. The hand pass came out from Crawford. Piccioni kicks it forward, probably the leading possession gatherer for Hawthorn so far. He's a very skillful player. Daniel Harford kicks it forward and misses.
Well, I think that is called a Moz, Robbo.
Put it on him?
Yeah.
Well, he is a very clever player,
no
a very skillful player, but
just didn't time that one.
Let himself down a little bit and scored the 4th behind for Hawthorn. They're 1-4. The Blues are 7-1. Kick out wide. Koutafidis and Chick. Koutafidis just struggling a little bit. Daniel Chick is sticking to his task. He's had 5 positions, Koutafidis, and Chick equal 5 kicks, but Chick has kicked Hawthorn's solitary goal at this stage of the game.
It's a major advantage, though, to have Kouta able to take that long kick from any kick out, because there's few players can go with him for pace and also have the reach to be able to spoil him. So if you can just get him one out, kick it long, generally he's going to take the mark.
Oh dear, he put Chris Massey under a bit of pressure there, Kouta. He grabbed the ball from the ruck contest, and Massey was just absolutely surrounded by Hawks. He would no way known he was going to get out of there, so the umpire will repeat the action, and right in front of the players' race in the Great Southern Stand, the ball will be bounced. Carlton 43, lead Hawthorn 10. 1.5 minutes left in the first term. Very good crowd here at the MCG. The Hawks are currently 8th on the ladder, and each game from here on in till round 22 important for Hawthorn if they are to maintain their position and play in the year 2000 finals.
Percentage is also going to be a factor. We saw the Tigers get absolutely belted.
Yeah, they lost about 6 percentage points.
Oh, and there is the
Piccioni,
injury to
I think it is.
Piccioni. And you see there Johnson, number 28 on the right of screen. He looks to have been pushed out onto the ground, and he's been asked to close down on Dean Rice.
Massey to Rice. Rice keeps his footing. Oh, doesn't he do well? Doesn't he do very well? To Christou. Across the half-forward line.
Right.
Good mark. Strong mark. Aaron Hamill in front of Mark Graham. Hamill 50 metres from goal. A lot of action up there. Hickmott providing, Whitnell providing, but Hamill may go for the long bomb. He'll get it all the way to the goal line and touched in the finish back there. And it goes through for a behind to the Blues. It may have been Trent Houghton back there in the goal square that got his hands on it. May, for one fleeting second, thought of shepherding it through, but couldn't quite succeed in doing so. The kick in, Gathered by Hickmott across the half-forward line. Always look as though they've got players on their own. They have. Massey. Bradley will kick a goal, won't he? Craig Bradley goes for goal and pops it through. 8 goals for the Blues in the first term.
I'd love to know what that man eats for breakfast, dinner and tea. He just as he gets older, but it doesn't seem to reduce the length of his kicks, his ability to run, his ability to support.
This kick was the interesting one though, Jim. I'm not sure exactly who that was pinpointed to, but you had Koutafidis and O'Reilly in the area.
I think Thompson was the one, but there was just too many people around. It was a crazy option.
I'll tell you what, every young fella just watched that kicking action.
It's straight,
beautiful, smooth, hits the ball beautifully. And I reckon you could count on your 2 hands the number of times he's miskicked the ball in 329 games. Silvani to O'Reilly. O'Reilly kicks the ball towards full forward, and that will end the pain for the Hawks, because the first term is over. And it saw a magnificent performance by the Blues. They kicked 8 goals to 50. Hawthorn kicked 1 goal for 10. Bradley kicked 2 goals, and of course the rest were singles, and Daniel Chick kicked Hawthorn's only goal. Whitnell, wasn't he terrific? If you pick a very ordinary player, I mean, it's a terrific sign, isn't it, Jim, when you've got contributors all over the ground, on the back line, on the forward line and in the midfield.
Oh yeah, and if you're controlling the corridor, then you're getting the ball inside 50 in a very, very dangerous area.
Well, the Hawks certainly have got the job ahead of them now. As we have a look at this mighty Carlton side, just refresh the legs. They lead by 40 points here at quarter time.
There's Chris Massey taking his place on the interchange bench. It's interesting, this rotation of players, Jim, you have a fair bit to do in the Melbourne coaching setup. It's obviously very important in modern day football.
Oh yeah, you got to just keep, so they have legs in the last quarter. You got to keep rotating players. You saw with Melbourne and the Roos last night. Obviously, Melbourne were able to run the game out. They couldn't score. I get the score they needed to win the game, but it certainly allowed them to come back later.
Speaking of the rotation, Kuta is in the middle to start this game. We've seen him a full forward up on the half-forward line, but is starting this quarter at the centre bounce.
So the start of the second term here at the MCG, and Porter starting up against Salmon, gathered here by Harford for Hawthorn. A high kick, Camporelli in front, Chick at the fall of the ball, gathered by McCabe, wider to Woods. Woods, wobbly old punt kick, good mark, terrific mark to Barker. Very strong effort by John Barker there, and he will shoot for goal from about 30 metres directly in front.
Well, Robbo, and this is the area, probably the only area that Hawthorn are winning today is out of the centre. They won it up to quarter time 6-3, so that makes it 7-3. But everywhere else, possessions 106 to 64 in Carlton's favour, and inside 50, 18 to 8.
106 in the first quarter. That is just an incredible amount of possession.
Well, I don't know if has the team ever made more than 400 possessions for a game?
Be a very good question, and we may be able to work on that as we see John Barker kick Hawthorn's second goal. Well, very important that they start the second term in positive fashion, because they were completely outplayed in the first term, the Hawks. Carlton kicking 8 goals to 1, but the first goal of the second term has gone to Hawthorn.
And quick hands, and look, I think Luke McCabe's had a particularly good month. He was struggling at some stages earlier in the year, but he's been a very good player for them, and there you see him just mopping that one up. And finally it finishes with John Barker.
So the umpire to restart play, this time Porter gets first hand to it, kicked away by Woods. Bouncing ball out wide. Leading is Vandenberg on Bradley, the young and the veteran. Well done by Vandenberg. He was not intimidated at all. Aaron Lord kicks it forward. Back there helping out the defence was Ratton, and he went for the safety of the boundary line, playing the percentages on that occasion, Brett Ratton. And it will be thrown in at right half forward for Hawthorn.
Always a good duel, Ratton and Woods. Same at the start of in round 2 at the start of the year. And 2 good players. Obviously Woods playing his 150th today.
Woods with 6 possessions. Ratton has had 9. Contest at half forward. Whitnell, Hickmott attacking the football. Still Adrian Hickmott diving on it. Be careful. It's in under there. There's a risk that he could be penalised. Now it spills out wide. Whitnell allows his teammate to go in underneath there, Camporelli, and couldn't quite feed it out, so the umpire forced to bounce about 45 metres from the Carlton goal. 8-2-50, the Blues. 2-4-16, the Hawks. Mild conditions, overcast, but a good day for football. Trying to crush his way through was Tallis. Ball spills now for Rawlings. In turn, Woods. He's caught. Good tackle.
Cool.
Hamill. Tallis. Football in there somewhere. Aaron Hamill, be careful.
Where you got to be careful is when you're inside 50 as a defender and you're trying to bring the ball out, handballing back inside into the corridor when it's pretty congested is a
just look for the boot here.
Risk.
Wasn't as wild as I first thought.
Pulled out of it.
But the one thing that Hamill and the likes of Hickmott have added to this side when they've been pushed up into the midfield, they're just so hard at the contest. Really have just put a lot of steel through the middle of this Carlton side.
Well, Bradley was beaten on the previous occasion that those two boys went at it, Vandenberg and Bradley, but he did take the points there. The kick by Lappin in towards the half-forward area. Whitnell kicked away there by Hay, close to the boundary line. It is a Vandenberg and Bradley again, and that's the sort of thing that you can do. You can still tie the player up, but you don't have to throw him into the fence. Well, that's the experience of 328 games.
Spot on, Robbo. The Hawks have seemed to have just altered their defensive structure a little bit, and they're getting extra blokes back. Maybe it's that Carlton haven't been able to get the ball in as quickly as in the first quarter. But you saw there Lappin just trying to change legs on which he was going to kick to find a short target because there was extra Hawthorn players deep in defence, and Harford in fact is now following his man. He's in the goal square.
I was just watching before. Whitnell tried to put a shepherd on Vandenberg as a bit of a set play there to throw in to allow Bradley free.
Well, the ball spills now to Kuda. Little hand pass Hickmott. Good vision and execution perfect. Rice.
Good running.
Oh, Christou has provided it, hasn't he? He's usually a pretty good kick of the football. Goes out very wide and a good mark, jumping early and keeping Harford away from reaching over the top to punch it out of his hands. Fletcher has taken the mark within scoring distance.
And what a great piece of play from a throw-in. They get the ball out. They took it out defensive side, Carlton, got it across to Christou, who was on the run. A beautiful handball that allowed him to keep running at full pace. And then he was able to find Fletcher on the lead. And there's nothing you can do to stop a play like that. That's like a training drill that you do during the week.
But because Carlton have got so many of these 6', 6'1" types that can play tall and play short, they're just taking players like Harper to positions they don't want to be. As Fletcher kicks another goal here for the Blues.
Now we'll give this man a bit of confidence boosting as well. Ange Christou, you know, he hasn't been probably the same sort of player as he was before his back injury, but he's slowly getting back into it this year.
Not far off it now.
He's had some good games.
He's been doing very well.
But this is what you were talking about, Jim. From that boundary throw-in, just open it up. Here comes Christou, just charging through the middle of the ground, and he sees Simon Fletcher. Harford's too small. He's not going to jump with him, and he's a very accurate shot at goal.
Well, the Blues proving very, very hard for Hawthorn to suppress, and we're only a couple of minutes into the second term. The Blues have kicked their 9th goal. They lead 9-2 to 2-4.
And that, Robbo, was the 25,000th goal ever kicked for the Blues.
Well, there's a fair bit of trivia too, Jerry.
Spent the night counting them up.
Harford kicks it directly towards goal. The umpire's found a free kick, holding against Simon Beaumont by the look of O'Reilly getting up just a little slowly. But there you see the umpire indicating that maybe Beaumont was the infringing player. Just watch again. What's it for, maybe?
Well, the umpire said holding.
Didn't look as though there was much in it, though, did there?
No.
You wonder sometimes whether the umpire has to make a decision. I mean, he's out there, but it's not really what we're looking for, is it? I mean...
although as a forward, Robbo, you take anything you get.
Well, that's a fair point, but...
what you're saying, Robbo, is you thought it was a shocker.
It just looked a little too simple, didn't it? But we're watching Dixon shoot for goal, and he makes no mistake from 25 metres out directly in front. Ben Dixon kicks his first goal. The Hawks get their third. Carlton 9-2. They've kicked 1 goal in this second term. Hawthorn are 3-4. They've added a couple.
Well, let's hope the Hawks can kick a number in a hurry. And I guess to do that, they've got to get some swift exits out of that centre bounce down to get the ball into the forward line. They've got the goal-kicking power down there, Jimmer.
Yeah.
All they need is the opportunity.
And they've been doing it like that's another one, a centre bounce, and they get it out of there straight away and inside in a really deep area, like 30 yards from goals, and they kick another goal.
Well, certainly Paul Salmon doing his bit, rucking and doing well. But this time Porter knocks it down the throat of Tony Woods. They got another centre clearance. Just missing it there was Aaron Lord. Bradley's tackle on Vandenberg. McKay yet to get into the game. Rock shot for goal by Anthony Rock. May bounce through. No. Up on its end.
Oh, good work.
Keeping it alive. Dixon. Back to Christou. Close to the boundary line. Ange Christou. Just a little toe poke. Silvani outside his defensive 50. Goes in the direction of Porter. Porter gathers. Falls over. Down over the top of him was Graham. In goes Hamill. And now umpire Brian Sheehan found a free kick and he gives the play on call. So the Hawks will go forward. The ball is at centre-half forward. Good punch away by Christou. Bangs it back into the centre. Tony Woods. Run down by Hickmott, but not before he got the hand pass away. The miss kick gathered by Koutafidis. The turnover. Whitnell keeps his footing, and the umpires found a free kick. Another feeble, very feeble contest between two players, resulting in a free kick.
No, I think he did grab hold of him a little bit. I'd have to give him that. Jared, you don't agree with me?
I'd like to see the replay. When Robbo calls it, he's very rarely wrong.
Harford kicks the ball into the middle. Chick. He's caught, but he shrugged the tackle. He held onto the ball well there, Daniel Chick, and then got the kick away to the far side of the ground where McCabe gathers. McCabe's kicking towards the full forward area, and the mark is taken by Crawford.
Bit of a spark here for the Hawks.
Well, they need Crawford. They need their running midfielders. They need a bit of, just a little bit more enthusiasm. And they may get it from Nathan Thompson because that was a great mark to the big, tall Hawthorn forward.
Well, it's when, you know, and Crawford, although Chick all started back there, you see what he can do. Bringing the ball out the other side of the ground, just opens it up, and then they bring it into, I suppose, a moving forward line. But terrific courage and a great mark there. Got some height, full extension. Not a bad player, the young Thompson.
Well, Lekis has come off the ground, and Bowyer is on as we watch Thompson shoot for goal. Good kick by Thompson. Hawks have got their fourth.
Well, Jared, you said a few goals.
Yes, and now they've got to get another couple, Jimmer. But they've got to get that run right through the middle from defence and just reverse the proceedings to date. Get the pressure back on the Blues. They're doing it. They have done it to date, basically as they liked. And you mentioned the word flirtatious, Robbo. Just a little bit of an error that crept in the first quarter. But they were quickly back into it. Let's see how they respond to this challenge from the Hawks.
Well, I think you just make a few changes off the interchange bench. You get the blokes that are sitting on the interchange bench that are as eager as anything to get on, and they've done that. Freeborn is on the ground.
And Cooter's gone to full forward. Camporelli's been pushed forward, and he's been relatively quiet. He's had 6 possessions.
Porter's touch was emphatic, but gathered by Vandenberg. Kick towards, Rice and Christou. Ball spills to the back. Desperate play by Beaumont. Silvani, has he got some space? McKay, always pretty steady. Kicks it out very wide. It'll go close to the boundary line and eventually taken over by Vandenberg and his immediate opponent. It may have been Hamill on that occasion. Franchina was in the action. And eventually it will be thrown in.
Vandenberg just tagging on to Craig Bradley at the moment. He pushed over to give assistance. He's sitting over the ball. The umpire's found in favour of the Hawks. So things just starting to run for the brown and gold at the moment.
Mark Graham's kicking towards full forward. Punched away. Gathered by McKay. Wastes no time and plays it all the way to half forward where the mark is taken by Woods.
Looks like they've pushed Ratton into the forward line as well. Tony Woods having a pretty fair game. He's had 9 possessions already. And whilst Ratton is getting enough of the ball, he's equalising him.
Good mark taken by Hamill. Kicks it out wide. Position made out there by Hickmott. Hickmott's little kick. Whitnell couldn't take the mark, so now the opportunity is with Hay. He's nearly run down, but he does pretty well, Jonathan Hay. Backed himself and then was grabbed from behind and and should be penalised, and is. Umpire will bring the ball all the way back. Gee, it was a good effort, wasn't it, by Whitnall? He first of all chased Jonathan Hay down, didn't quite get hold of him, but the persistence shown by the Blues resulted in the free kick, and that short pass has been taken by Camporelli.
He's a bit too far out to kick a goal, I'd say, from there, but who knows? It's probably about 55 when he kicks it. You reckon Robbo will make the distance?
Pretty good kick, this boy. Scott Camporelli going for goal, gets it, well, looking for that extra distance. He did hook it, didn't he?
Yeah, he hooked it. No, I just reckon the more disciplined players to put it up just at the top of the square, just allow a Whitnall or someone like that to come out and take a mark.
Just 7 possessions to Camporelli. 1 goal, 1 so far.
It's an unusual ground, the MCG, in relation to wind. We saw Shane Crawford toss the coin. He immediately kicked to the right of screen. But 11 out of the 13 goals kicked today have been to the left of screen.
Well, fair point. Daniel Harford has the ball, kicks it in towards centre half back where Crawford is marked. The Blues 9-3-57 lead Hawthorn 4-4-28 after Carlton got out of the blocks and led 50-10 at quarter time.
That was a shocking cross there from Crawford, trying to find someone out in the far wing.
Good kick, Freeborn.
Yeah, good point.
You can't beat the kick that travels through the air quickly and pinpoints the opponent from about in excess of 40 metres.
Still shouldn't have been able to be that free though, Robbo. I think they all got caught on the back foot because of the mongrel that came from the skipper. And they'd faded off to try and get in on the possession, but it came charging back, and Hamill has the shot at goal.
And particularly on a kick out, because obviously everyone's in a zone trying to get the ball out, and so when it turns over, you just don't have time to pick up your opponents.
Another little bit of trivia too, Jared, thanks to the main scoreboard here at the MCG. Aaron Hamill going for career goal number 100. 22 years of age, 85 matches, and he's still searching for his 100th career goal.
That would have been the 25,001 goal.
You've been doing your homework too, Jim, have you?
Well, the coach's box there, just briefly, David Parkin. A lot of discussion going on in the football circles about the coaching staff at Carlton, but they're doing quite nicely at the moment. So no questions asked up there at Optus Oval. The team sitting second on the ladder to the all-conquering Essendon.
Although, Robbo, if they're going to be a genuine contender against Essendon or a challenger, I think they've got to sort out their centre bounce clearance rate. Today, it's one area they really are poor.
Hawthorn keeping possession of the ball in the defensive half of the ground. Rawlings.
It hasn't been a weakness, though, Jim. They may be having a bad day, but the likes of Ratton, Bradley, Koutafidis, they've got the strength there.
Well done, Luke McCabe. Lets himself down a little with the kick forward. The Carlton defence.
Oh, look at this.
They've had a tremendous defence for many, many years, and still they're lousy back there in their efforts to just contain the Hawthorn side. Whitnall gets around his opponent and then lobs it into the goal square. But back there is Salmon, and I tell you what, he is playing some sort of a game, Paul Salmon. Short kick to Chick. Chick can go long. Bowyer on his own. Probably could have come to the near side where Harford was running. Then the kick, he coughs it up basically. Gathered by Koutafidis. Short kick is all right. Lappin, who's he got to kick to? It's not Lappin, it's Houlihan. Houlihan's kick in towards full forward, and Houghton took the one-hander. Franchina kicks it onto the chest of Salmon. Salmon now short. Rawlings. Rawlings inside his defensive 50. Kicks across the line. The mark has been taken.
Get going, young man.
Oh dear, Scotty Freeborn. Maybe off balance and on his right side, which is a natural left footer. Maybe.
Yep, if he's a left footer, good point. Straight in front, come back. But isn't it interesting the way Hawthorn try and take the ball out and they just keep turning it over, and even at half forward, if they get it that far, it's just they just keep kicking into the opposition.
Don't mind the look of Scott Freeborn as a, one of the 22. It always takes even in excess of 22 if you're to finish on top on grand final day. Beautiful left foot kick.
And that's what he does well, Robert.
He does kick it nicely.
He's a hard nut that kicks goals.
So Scott Freeborn kicks his first goal, and he becomes already the 8th goal kicker for Carlton. They've kicked 10-4 to 4-4.
Oh, and Jim, they kill you, don't they? Those ones where you're doing all the hard work, you've got possession of the footy, somebody is just following team instructions, and it's just either a decision error or a skill error, probably a decision error on that occasion, and a goal against the flow gives it to you on the scoreboard. Jim.
Yeah, now in modern football, I got to say, Robbo, you know, you can cross your goals, but if you're going to cross them, you got to make sure you got a free.
It has to be 100%, doesn't it?
You got to have a free teammate out there.
Gee, if Camporelli starts to get a slice of the action, they're in a bit of strife. Whitnell, shot for goal. How about that? Hit the post. 1 goal, 1 to Lance Whitnell. You nearly had that written down in your football record as a goal.
Well, I was saying about their clearance rate. Obviously, that's turned the tide a bit. They got that one out, but I just think, Jared, it's when you lose a player like Allen, getting it first hand on the ball makes it a hell of a lot easier for your receivers in there.
Yeah, if you've got a player that can dominate and put it to where he says he's going to put it to, then Ruckman can have a major impact.
Well, just a little bit of a misunderstanding there between Hickmott and Koutafidis. Salmon, short kick at the feet of Nick Holland, not able quite to get to the footy there. He's only had 3 possessions, but by gee, he will know he's played a game of football because he's on one of the greatest negators. I don't think he's a fantastic exponent of there's Matthew Allen in the middle of screen, but I talk about Stephen Silvani. If you play well against Stephen Silvani, you know you've played a game of footy because he's just a terrific person, has the ability to punch when he's out of position, scramble, scrag, tackle.
And Robbo, he's a great goalkeeper as well.
Oh, yes, he does that pretty nicely, doesn't he? The Irish, they're going over. You're going over, aren't you, at the end of the year?
Yeah, Jared will be coming as well. Chairman of selectors there.
Thanks for the invite, Jim.
Kick by Crawford, close to the line. The Blues 2-on-1. Porter provides a little shepherd. Kick by Camporelli to a contest, off the ground, back towards the centre. It's gathered there by Barker. No, that was McFarlane, actually. Now Crawford shrugs the Hickmott tackle. Crawford's handball. Salmon's going to get run down. Porter angry. Did he hang on too long? Ball spills. Still a chance for the Blues. They're 3-on-3. Vandenberg in over the top. And the umpire gives all players in that contest the benefit there of making a good contest out of it, and will bounce right on centre wing. 10-5 plays 4-4. The Blues lead by 37 points. Ratton, who's been relatively quiet in this second term. Koutafidis to Hickmott. Hickmott's kick to the advantage of Whitnell. He was, well, he was pretty well negated back there by Jonathan Hay. Look at this ball bouncing. It was Tallis over the boundary line, according to Gerard Healy. Play allowed to go on. Tallis' short kick has been marked by Woods. And they've changed the rucks, the Blues. Porter's come off and Trent Hotton's on. See if that can give them some extra run through the middle. Oh, well done, Freeborn. Freeborn and Bowyer. Good contest by two of the younger ones in games played terms for their respective teams. And the veteran Craig Bradley, the skipper, gives Scott Freeborn just a congratulatory pat for making a good contest. Was that out of bounds?
By about 1.5 foot.
Yep. Thompson's just come on the ball now on the rock.
Houlihan gathers, kicks in towards O'Reilly. O'Reilly's handball. Rice looks, delivers, and Harford chips in. Takes the mark across half-back. Short kick, not quite good enough. Hamill and McCabe. Still Hamill. Little tap was good. Camporelli uses the ball pretty well. Kicks into the pocket. Hickmott does well, but the mark has been paid to the Hawks. And it is Nathan Thompson back there working industriously for Hawthorn across their full back line.
Yeah, he's just come back on the ball, and actually he seems to be picking up Koutafidis because Salmon's gone to the half-forward line, and O'Reilly's picking him up.
A high kick by Nathan Thompson out towards half-back. Gathered there by Houghton. Handball, Camporelli. Camporelli, just a bit of a wild one on that occasion to the goal square. Hawks getting back. Thompson.
They've got to look for the short chip, I think, Carlton. They've had Whitnell down there a number of times. They've blazed away to him. Hasn't been able to win the one-out battle. He's
done a really good job on him, though.
He has. So either get him to start leading up the ground or chip it into one of the shorts.
The ball taken away for Hawthorn by Tallis. Kicks it out towards the wing. Franchina, freeborn. Franchina gets the rewards of providing a contest. Ratton, outside 50. Short kick is all right. And Houlihan has marked. If this boy can contribute for Carlton what Adam Houlihan does for Geelong. Of course, Adam, his brother, and Damien, before the two of them, played league football at Collingwood. And this young fella just trying to make a bit of a name for himself early doors in his AFL career. But as I say, if he can do just as nicely as Adam is doing at Geelong, he'll be pretty pleased with himself. He's going to shoot from about 35 metres. Difficult angle. Shot at goal is missed. Ryan Houlihan.
Robbo, the play that actually set that up with Crawford and Franchina just impresses me, that kid Franchina. Just not only did he beat his opponent, but he took him out of the contest, which allowed Carlton to just run forward free of the play.
Well, a short kick here has been marked by Daniel Chick. He decides to go across the ground. There's a player out there on his own, and it's kicked forward by Graham. Graham to half forward. Big punch by Silvani. Emphatic punch. Out at the feet of Freeborn. Still Freeborn. Still Freeborn. Does pretty well, doesn't he? Camporelli would be happy with that, because his little left foot pass has found Hickmott. Hickmott high in towards half forward. Hamill couldn't take it. Whitnell fed out the back. Still Hamill. He had three players to beat. Luke McFarlane getting back there for Hawthorn. Taken by Chick. Short kick. Gathered by Thompson. Thompson goes to Tallis, and his kick is very wide where Woods is marked. Daniel Chick with 13 kicks. He's had 5 marks and kicked a goal. Koutafidis with 12 possessions. But the ball now with Bowyer. Bowyer on centre wing.
This is where they normally fall down around here.
Punched away by Silvani. Contest at the fall of the ball. Franchina couldn't take it. Camporelli put on a brilliant act. No free kick in my opinion. Ball in dispute at half forward. Rice missed it. Nick Holland didn't. Kick forward by Vandenberg. All the way to the goal line. Andrew McKay, very reliable. Right. Handball off Beaumont. He's a left footer, and he does pretty well in the finish. Ratner's on his own. Running in support was Fletcher. You'll nearly get a chance. Hickmott's got it. But watch Fletcher. He's still there. Still Fletcher runs. Whitnell. Can he give him the hand pass now? Still Fletcher is providing. And because of his running, he's going to get a possession inside the forward 50 when he ran about 85 metres to get there.
Well, you saw Luke McFarlane take the big jump to spoil the mark against Hickmott, but he didn't take the body with him, so he allowed Adrian Hickmott to charge on and play on.
Barker couldn't take the mark. Held when he didn't have the ball was Harford. Looked pretty straightforward. The umpire has awarded the free kick to Daniel Harford across the full back line. Goes out wide where Graham has taken it. Hawks have got a chance to transfer the ball forward. Bowyer from away from Silvani. Bowyer still in the defensive half of the ground as far as Hawthorn are concerned. Kicks it out towards the wing. Contest provided by McKay. A little too front on, and accordingly the umpire has paid the free kick to Hawthorn.
And they're doing pretty well from the umpires this quarter. Not disputing that one, it was certainly there, but the Hawks are 7 to Carlton 2 free kicks in this term.
Barker kicks it forward. Hickmott, but good mark taken by McFarlane.
He can play this young man. He's a very good up-and-comer. We should add further to the great stocks that they're developing of the tall young players that can play in key positions at the Hawks at the moment.
The Hawks have also really increased their work ratio, and if you have a look at the kicks at possessions, they've had about 76 to 56 in this quarter.
McFarlane from about 35 metres perhaps didn't quite go back and take enough steps in his approach. Peter Hudson, pretty mongrel punt kicks that went, but they went straight, and he used to go back a long way from the man on the mark, and he was a good educator of the young St Kilda players in the time that Peter Hudson spent down at Moorabbin. Maybe Luke McFarlane can take a lesson there. Hickmott kicks it forward. Gathered by Hamill. Looking to give it back. He does to Hickmott. Hickmott down the line. This is a better pass to the forward.
This is a training drill.
And Whitnell has marked. Goes in towards the half-forward proper. Quite congested. At the back, Houlihan. Franchina. Kick smothered. Koutafidis not able to get his kick away. The Blues trying to keep it alive. 50 metres from their goal. Still Hickmott, Houlihan, Koutafidis, a very, very congested passage of play here. Houlihan back to Massey. Massey across his left shoulder. Mark taken by McFarlane, who only just a moment or so ago had a shot at goal for the Hawks. And the siren has ended proceedings. It is half-time at the MCG, and the second term, the Blues added just 2 goals. Hawthorn kicked 3, so the gap just lessening ever so slightly, but Carlton still in control. The Blues 10-6, 66, Hawthorn 4-5, 29.
And you just have to say, Hawthorn have had more of the footy, but yet they can't get the ball inside 50 because they keep turning it over. I think Carlton have been in 16 times to 10, but yet they have outscored them, but only by a goal. So really, you know, at least they've increased the pressure, Jared. That, you know, they're getting in, they're getting some more of the play. And they're getting the ball out of the centre, they're winning in there, but they just can't get the score on the board, and that's really what they've got to do if they want to create a better contest now in this third quarter.
Yes, they did look as if they decided to flood the defence of the Carlton side in that term, the Hawks, and they did it particularly well, but they still go in at half-time, trailing by 37 points. Join us at the MCG for the second half of this game after the break.
I think you can be lulled into a false feeling of superiority, and the Blues kicking 8 goals to 1 in the first term certainly may have led to that.
Jim, I thought Adrian Hickmott was close to best on the ground, if not clearly that.
Yeah, well, he's had, what, 19 possessions, 7 marks, so it's a pretty good effort for half a footy. But what's really interesting to me is that possessions, 81 to Hawthorn, 65 to Carlton, but yet
in that term,
but yet they've been able to get the ball inside their 50 7 more times than Hawthorn were. So I suppose it just shows, as you said, they're dropping players back. Yeah. That's well and good, but you've got to be able to get into your forward line and win it up there.
So the start of the second half, and the Blues have first possession, but locked up was Brett Ratton. Still got the football though. He's a hard man to dispossess. The umpire will have to do it all again.
Been a good battle. Woods and Brett Ratton and Franchina there, you can see just hassling the Brownlow medalist Crawford. There they are now.
Crawford gets the handball out wide. Chance for the Hawks to go forward through Aaron Lord. Lord's kick floats awkwardly. No mark taken at half forward. Silvani held. O'Reilly the tackler. Front on fairly effectively. And according to the umpire, all fair. Anthony Rock there for Hawthorn. Anthony Rock has struggled in this first half. Only 4 possessions and usually gets a lot more of the football than that.
Yeah, and Chick and also Koutafidis has been a good battle today. 13 and 12 possessions.
Bounce of the ball. Silvani gathers away to Rice. Rice tries to keep it low.
Great kick.
Lappin, handball forward. He did what he had to do. Johnson's little kick. Fletcher beaten pointlessly by McCabe. McCabe's shot at goal is across the face and bounces right on the goal line. So still alive as far as the goal umpire is concerned. Eventually, the Blues defence, Beaumont and Christou, concede a rush behind to Hawthorn. So the first score of the second half to the Hawks, albeit a rush behind, and Christou wastes no time, kicks it in to Silvani. He in turn goes short. We'll have the lights on here shortly. It is very overcast, still no threat really of rain, and hopefully that will stay away. Silvani, handball over the top. Hickmott, good vision again, wide. Christou could go back to Silvani. Disguised that pretty well in the finish.
Was that dropping the ball?
Yep, no doubt about it.
Thought it was.
He didn't.
Does the tackler have to have hold of you?
Well, he's got an opportunity to get rid of it.
There.
There's his opportunity. So you'd say he's had prior opportunity, and he just missed the footy.
So from the resultant boundary throw in, it was just thumped straight back over the line for the boundary umpire to repeat. 10-6 to 4-6. Carlton by a clear 6-goal margin early in the second half. Silvani gets first fist to it. Gathered by Freeborn. Kick along the boundary line. Koutafidis. Lord does well. Shrugs the tackle. The advantage is with the Hawks. Oh, well done by Freeborn. The smother off McCabe's boot was perfect. Little right foot kick into the middle, and Fletcher made the ball his. He certainly went after it with such venom and kicked it forward. The race is on here. A good contest too. It is Jonathan Hay and Whitnall. Well done. Well played by Jonathan Hay. Kicked it away. Ratton, Johnson, Fletcher. The ball now with Simon Fletcher, and the umpire will bounce just inside the forward 50 for the Blues.
You saw Fletcher before you go, Jim. Fletcher just kicked the ball into space for Lance Whitnall, but up against Jonathan Hay, he just hasn't got the pace if it becomes a leg race.
So the umpire, Hickmott, trying to just keep it alive for the Blues, but Tallis gathers and then handballs into the path of Nick Holland. Nick Holland's kick towards half forward, getting back as McKay. Just lost the ball there for a fleeting second. Chris Dew. Well done, Salmon. Still Salmon and Rice there. Oh, it bounces back to Beaumont. Beaumont through the middle of the MCG. Kicks the ball forward, and a spectacular mark. And it was a spectacular mark taken at half-back by Jonathan Hay. Goes out wide. Graham's little kick goes to the feet of Tallis. He gathers well, then gets past. Just gives away a bit of ground. Back to Graham. Standing, delivering, into the middle. Oh, again, a top effort. Attack on the football by Nick Holland. Ratton, left foot, just throws it on his boot. Contest provided. Gathered by Lappin. Handball over the top. Opportunity for Camporelli. Handball, he held the ball, didn't he? And he did it very nicely in the finish. Porter for Lappin. Lappin across the half-forward line, and getting back bravely was Harford in front of Whitnall. Good effort by Harford. Handball away. Jonathan Hay, little kick, sharing the ball around over there on that far side of the ground in front of the Great Southern Stand. This is McCabe for the Hawks. He kicks in towards half-forward. Mark is taken here by Thompson. They just looked a little fired up in the early part of the second half. They've had the chance to speak to the coaching staff, and they look as though they've come out a little more pumped up than the Blues. Hawthorn. This is Vandenberg for Hawthorn. He's deep in the left forward pocket, left half-forward flank area.
And Robert, they're pushing a lot more players forward as well, Hawthorn. You know, they had Salmon was sort of floating around there up in half-forward line, just giving them a little bit more height.
Watching Vandenberg go for goal. And he's popped it through. Excitement there for the Hawks. Rockin' Vandenberg. First goal for the second half. Kicked by Richard Vandenberg for Hawthorn.
It was a good bit of play there too, because they were able to switch the play, Hawthorn, and take it down the far wing. And obviously, you know, when the ball can get congested in the middle, they were just able to get some free men. Crawford was able to find McCabe, who then was able to spot his teammate there, and just getting free men inside 50 makes a huge difference.
So already in this third quarter, the Hawks have had 20 possessions to 18, and they've gone inside their forward 50 on 4 occasions. The Blues just 3. Chance for the Blues to gather behind the centre bounce area. Camporelli, a critical little fumble. Crawford over the top of Ratton. Umpire will call for a bounce.
I think Carlton have just got to get a bit more purpose in their footy. They've, I think in their own minds, they know that they've got this game in their control. But you can, as you said earlier, Robbo, you can just lull yourself into a false sense of security. The work rate drops off, and like we saw last night against the Kangaroos, 40-odd points in front. Melbourne almost snatched the game.
Oh, great work by Hickmott.
No chance to get rid of it.
And Lord's tackle has been rewarded with a free kick, when really it was very difficult for Scott Camporelli to get rid of the ball. Woods kicked towards the half. Gee, that was a top effort, wasn't it? Down close to the turf, Nick Holland has been paid the mark in front of Stephen Silvano.
If he gets into this game, Robbo, then the Hawks just could create a bit of an upset here.
Still a game to be won. Barker and Rice. Barker does well. He has just manufactured an opportunity for a goal to Hawthorn. Ben Dixon is marked in the pocket. Pretty
good skills, though. Like, when you consider maybe there's a bit of luck involved, but still, just for him to, because with players and the balls bumping around like that, you've just got to hit it as it moves in the air, that oval ball, and you've got to hit it at the right spot. Just kept it alive.
Well, the Blues led this game by 40 points at quarter time. If Ben Dixon can kick this goal, it's back to 24 points the margin. He's hit the post. didn't mess around, and he kicked it rather emphatically, smashing into the near goalpost.
Let's just have a look at this for prior opportunity. Now, that is a shocking decision by the umpire. He had a split second to get rid of it. That's not prior opportunity.
Well,
I mean, it's frustrating when you're a supporter. I'm not a supporter of either side, but it would be frustrating if you were.
well, we have the advantage of the replay, but McFarlane's kick a little high there. McKay, look at this. This turnover is going to be very expensive, you would think. Fletcher in towards half-forward. Top stuff by Crawford. Top stuff, that.
And he's really starting to get himself into the game. Just picking up a few possessions now this quarter. And they're starting to have some effect on the game.
Goes out wide to Salmon, who kept them right in it up until half-time. Contest in the middle of the ground. Hamill leaves it behind. Harford a little high. Still Daniel Harford. Then kicks it very high. Was that a free kick and the advantage with Hawthorn? No. So play goes on. Bradley marks to Fletcher. Fletcher over the top. Goal coming up to the Blues. Hickmott from about 45 metres. Hickmott flying. Mark Koutafidis right on the goal line. He had 3 grabs at it and eventually has been paid.
So he's a good player.
Hickmott in a little trouble behind play after delivering the ball to Koutafidis, who will kick the goal for Carlton. Koutafidis' first goal. Anthony Koutafidis kicks the Blues' 11th goal. Nearly halfway through the third quarter, 11-6 to 5-7, just when the Hawks were making some sort of a challenge to the Blues.
Just going back to the centre there with Harford, when he kicked the ball up in the air, he went to Bradley instead of maybe zoning back off him onto Fletcher, because it just allowed him to handball over the top, and give Hickmott a clear run to goal. And then obviously Koutafidis in there, just a terrific mark.
Well, good contest between Daniel Chick, number 17 for Hawthorn. He's had 13 kicks. He's kicked a goal.
He's had the better of
manning
Kuta.
up on Koutafidis. Jared, 13 positions to Kuta, 1 goal.
But he hasn't really had the impact that he has had. I would have thought Kuta was well underneath the standard that he's set so far this season.
Well, Whitnell gathered the awkward ball well. Camporelli, then Fletcher. He's had 3 possessions already, Fletcher, in about 3 minutes. Ball spills to the back. Chick keeping his footing. Koutafidis falling over. Woods to Salmon. Salmon run down by Lappin. Good tackle. Very good tackle. And another good tackle keeps the ball deep in Carlton's full forward area.
That was a good tackle. That should have been a free kick. Just dropped the ball. Yeah, what you see it here. Salmon picks the ball up. Just falls out of his hand.
Tries to beat an opponent, and you wonder, is anybody on the umpiring panel in charge of this prior opportunity?
Well, we're asking the question, and we're asking the question consistently during a game of football. So if it keeps coming up,
and it's
more often than not, that's what you're looking for, isn't it?
Yeah, because the one that Jared picked up on Camporelli just before.
Salmon in front. Ball to Crawford. And Tallis eventually over the line. Boundary umpire will throw it in. Left forward pocket for the Blues. They lead 11-6-72 to 5-7-37, a 35-point margin enjoyed by Carlton after they led at quarter time by 40. Still Hawthorn some sort of a chance, but they'd need to kick the next 3 goals, you would think. Kicked away by Hay towards the wing, and reasonably well played by Freeborn away from Lord. Forces a boundary throw in.
Sorry, Robert, some good signs, I think, though, for the Hawks. Crawford looks to have lifted. Harford certainly had a better quarter. And Nick Holland has given them a focal point up forward, and he was really blanketed by Steve Silvani in the first half. The Fish is doing well as well.
He continues, doesn't he? I mean, he's just a wonderful veteran, Paul Salmon. Ratton's kick towards half forward. Whitnell leaves it behind on this occasion. Keeping his eyes right on the football was Lappin. Over the top is Tallis. The umpire's going to award a free kick to the Hawks. Falling on the ball. And it is Johnson, actually, not Tallis, who was over the top there of Matthew Lappin. And just a youngster playing his second AFL game, Brett Johnson, wearing Guernsey number 28 for Hawthorn. Not a bad kick out wide. Marcus taken down low again by Nick Holland.
They take a lot of risk crossing the ball out of defence, and particularly trying to find people up through the corridor.
It looked as if Camporelli had have run at full pace there. He would have intercepted that one.
Holland kicks it high and long to half forward, punched away back towards the middle of the ground. Houghton, Freeborn, still Houghton and Lord. Houghton can't move it away from the tackle by Johnson. Hamill got rid of Vandenberg. Well done, Bradley. Knocks it to the advantage of O'Reilly. O'Reilly's little kick is all right, and Fletcher. So those ex-Geelong boys are doing what quite nicely, aren't they?
Kuda.
Hickmott, O'Reilly, Fletcher. Now this is Koutafidis. Koutafidis can go short, and Rice has run all the way from that half-back line and has marked within scoring distance.
He's had a habit of doing this in recent times, has Anthony Koutafidis, just playing a solid first half and then just exploding in the second half. So it's really something that would be concerning the Hawks at the moment.
216 games, just 84 career goals, Dean Rice. But mark another one down, folks. 85 career goals to Dean Rice. And becomes the 10th individual goal kicker for the Blues. They've just kicked 12 and they've had a few in it.
Yes, he's had another good game. Now, here's the lap and tackle. He could have justifiably got a free kick there for the kicking in danger. There was a full headlock on him as well, but in the end he was penalised for jumping over the ball as per what the rule requires.
Well, Jimmy, the Hawks kicked the first goal of the third term, but the Blues have answered with the next two.
And they just have. They just sort of dropped their foot and accelerated a little bit, put some more pressure back on Hawthorn.
Free kick from the centre bounce, going to McCabe, high tackle. Luke McCabe will put Hawthorn deep into attack. Just missing it altogether there. That attempted punch from defence was Silvani. Hand pass was a little long coming there from Simon Beaumont. Johnson looking to get the advantage, but the umpire will bring it back. The free kick to be taken by Nick Holland, about 40 metres out directly in front, maybe a little closer.
You mentioned Jared before with Nick Holland. He's got to be able to get himself into marking contests. A little bit fortunate there to actually get a free kick.
And Woods coming off the ground, being replaced by Piccioni, who started beautifully in the first term, was injured. Kicked by Holland as a goal. 6 goals on the scoreboard of the Hawks. Nick Holland kicks his first goal deep into the third quarter, and you would think he kicked 3 last week against Collingwood. Ben Dixon kicked 6. Both of those players in today's game so far have only managed a couple.
Yes, and they have been well held, but they've also lacked a little bit of opportunity. The ball hasn't come in all that well. But you wouldn't write the Hawks off just at the moment. We know the Blues have got more firepower, but the Hawks are just hanging in there.
Lights are on at the MCG, as we said earlier. Dull, overcast day. Houghton takes it from the centre bounce. Camporelli dragged to the ground. Franchina, who's been pretty quiet, he started very well. Ratton got a hand to it, kicked away by Bowyer. Out wide, Marcus taken down here in front of us by Rawlings. He's got a player on his own, and he has done well. Piccioni. Spoke about Lance Piccioni. He had 5 possessions early in the first quarter. He was hurt. He's done nicely here. He's found Crawford, who's been able to slip the tag of Franchina and mark within 50 metres of goal. 12-6 to 6-7. 35 points is the margin. They got to within 30 points. Ben Dixon had the opportunity to bring it back to 24, and here the captain can bring the margin back to 29. Oh, he's not too confident, is he? He looked as though he was going to try and get past the man on the mark and messed it up altogether.
It just took, I think when you're out that far, you nearly need to just get in there as quick as you can and just drop it on the edge of the square.
Wouldn't you like to see that bloke out there in a Hawthorn jumper, eh?
I'm sure.
Isn't
maybe.
it amazing? The gestures that are shown by the crowd. All of these boys out here.
Because it looks easy from the crowd.
Don't they? Yeah.
Stands.
And they do the best they can. And on that occasion, well, Shane Crawford just letting himself down. Rock's kick is disciplined to the front of the goal square. Silvani may concede. He does. A rush behind to Hawthorn. On my scorecard, that's 4. So they've got the ball all the way to the line. Well, they've scored 8 behind, 6 goals, 8 Hawthorn, but 4 of those 8 behinds have been as a result of balls going all the way to the goal line and then in turn being easily forced through by the Carlton defence.
Jared, would you penalise a backman more than 1 point for that? What do you think of that rule?
Oh, look, I think it's worth consideration, Jim. The ability to just rush the ball over, I think, robs us of the desperation on the goal line. But we've had a lot of rule changes in recent times. I'd hasten slowly.
Well, Carlton have had quite a few possessions in their defensive 50, and when they tried to get out, they've coughed the ball up. And Rawlings, after receiving from Crawford, has given the opportunity to McCabe, who's been quite serviceable, Luke McCabe. He kicks the ball to the front of the goal square, looking for a mark.
Yes.
They've got it. Is it Barker? It's a mark to the Hawks.
Work rate, the Hawks' work rate is up, and it's certainly superior to that Carlton are producing. Carlton's got a number of players still going at 100 miles an hour, but they've also had a number that are just doing what they have to get through this match.
93 matches, John Barker, going for career goal number 34. Still only a youngster, 25 years of age, debuted in 1994. And you can see there that not a very difficult chance at all, and he converts beautifully. So John Barker kicks his second goal, and Hawthorn get their 7th. They've kicked 3 goals now in this third term to the Blues, who have added 2 in the third quarter.
Well, doesn't it make a difference when you get the ball in there a lot quicker? Like Crawford was outside 50 before, and he just took too long, and then he tried to take on the defender. Whereas there, just before, Hawthorn, they just got it in as quick as they could, got it in long to the edge of the square, and when you put it in there, it's dangerous, and you never know, even if you don't take a mark, you're going to get a chance of getting a crop.
Well, the Blues are under the pump, and when that happens, the Cooter man generally goes into the middle of the ground. And he looks like he's taken up a ruck position.
And Hawthorn giving Paul Salmon the opportunity to have a little bit of a spell. They've got Nathan Thompson doing the ruck work, but Houghton it was who contested. Bradley gave it away. Must have heard the voice. McCabe kicks it forward. Disputed ball. Well done, run down by Lord. Handball away, Vandenberg. Vandenberg kicks it back towards full forward.
Free kick, Hawks. Simon Beaumont, I think.
Holland and Silvani are having a go at each other here.
In fact, it was Glenn Manton who just was pretty undisciplined at Manton. He was lost, totally lost, and he came back hard, just grabbed the jumper.
That was the dust-up that was off the ball between Stephen Silvani and Nick Holland, and Camporelli and Vandenberg having it to do. But the ball is with John Barker, and he's got the chance to be, without doubt, the individual leading goal kicker for Hawthorn. He's going for his 3rd, but more importantly, this goal gives Hawthorn a real chance. That's their 8th.
Well, this is a great comeback by the mighty Hawks. They would have gone in at half-time, Jim, and copped a, well, maybe just some honest words from the coach. Their season's on the line. They're sitting there in the middle of the, on the outskirts of the 8. Let's have a look at the way this free kick he eventuates. There's Manton, goes in, just grabs a jumper. You can't do that. And he's given away the free kick.
And that's 3 goals in 6 minutes, so it's a pretty good effort, and it's also coming out of the centre as well, which is really giving them a great initiative.
Yes, I mentioned they kicked the first goal of the third quarter, answered quickly by Carlton, kicking 2. And as you said then, Jim, 3 goals in 6 minutes to Hawthorn. Now Bradley. Looks as though there's a little urgency on behalf of the Blues. Ratton into the path of Lappin. Back he goes to Hickmott. Got the handball away, all fair and above board. Fletcher, Ratton, cool. Left foot kick towards full foot. Good mark, Jonathan Hay. The Hawks have got a sniff. The fans are at their backs, and the Hawks are going forward. But bad luck there, Harford. He looked to kick it to Holland. Now Silvani has been called to play on. He kicks into the middle. Ratton beaten for it by Thompson. Very important there, because Hawthorn will go into their forward half as a result of this kick from Nathan Thompson. Kicks towards half foot. Good mark again. Bowyer. He's too far out to score. There's the Hawthorn coach's box. Working overtime, Peter Schwab and his assistants. Dixon has provided the lead, and Dixon is marked. And believe it or not, after trailing by 40 at quarter time, if Ben Dixon can kick this goal, he will bring the margin to 16 points. Much easier shot at goal than the previous one that he enjoyed. Whitnell coming off the ground. They've already dragged Simon Beaumont, so they're swinging the changes, the Blues. But the football is with Ben Dixon. He goes for goal, and he's put it through. The Hawks within 16. Couple of goals to Ben Dixon, and 3 hard-working goals from John Barker. 9-8 to 12-6, the margin. 16 points in favour of the Blues with 3.5 minutes left in the third term.
And just a great bit of play to come up the centre now. They're starting to use the corridor a little bit more. Hawthorn, it took a bit of a risk to go to Boyer, but he was able to take the mark in the middle and get it down quickly to Dixon. Just a great effort and really good comeback at the moment.
8 goals to 4 since quarter time in favour of the Hawks. 16 points the margin in favour of Carlton. Deep into the third term. Ruck contest. Ball spills. McCabe, who's been very good in this third term, kicks it to half forward. Holland leaping. Couldn't take it. Rice overrun. Lord confronted by Massey and Silvani. Locked up. The umpire will bounce. Hawks a chance to score again. Deep into the third term. We've got just over 3 minutes left. If they can get a goal here, by gee, this joint will be rocking.
And the Carlton runners just going overtime. Batty Mitchell and Peter Maynard are just interchanging, doing wind sprints up and down the ground.
Well, the hand pass came out from Houghton to Koutafidis. His kick has been marked by Hamill, just behind the wing.
Lapping off for Beaumont.
The kick forward. Oh, good mark. Top mark to Bowyer. And Bowyer repels that promising forward thrust for the Blues. Equally as good a mark at half-back by McKay. Off to Hamill. In turn, Fletcher. Fletcher has had 18 possessions, being asked to play on. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Mark is taken by Trent Houghton. Looks down the ground and then kicks high in the air. Not really any advantage, but the mark has been taken very nicely by Beaumont, who was dragged unceremoniously. A couple of just indiscretions in the back 50, and now he's marked. And there's a player on his own in the goal square. Simon Beaumont had his back to the play, but he will shoot for goal from about 35 metres, 45-degree angle.
Well, Lance Whitnell's had one of the great years to date, but he has been exposed by a lack of pace there a couple of times. And so they've traced the chemistry. You'd expect Whitnell to be back on shortly, but here's a chance for the Blues to respond.
Beaumont for goal, and he's missed. Badly needed one there just to settle the nerves. Whitnell preparing to come back on. May not get a chance. There's 1 3/4 minutes left in the third term. It has been a good term for Hawthorn. They've kicked 5 goals, 3, and Carlton have added 2 goals, 1.
Tell you what, the Hawks kick the next one. They will go into the 3/4 time so full of running and momentum. They're going to be hard to stop, but the reverse you would think would also apply. If the Blues get it, they'll have just diffused the excitement a little bit.
Half it. Oh, he's caught. No, shrunk the tackle. Got the hand pass away. They're still inside their defensive 50. Now they'll get out. Chick is caught. Got the handball away. The Blues might go forward. Just a little bit of indecision there. Houlihan grab, dragged down. Johnson did well. He's a natural left footer. That right foot kick to the advantage of Nick Holland. Little kick inboard. Well done there by Rawlings. Back to Holland. Holland close to the line. It's a contest in the right forward pocket area. Barker and Manton spills for a boundary throw in, and the urgency is on the faces of all players on the ground right now. 12-7 to 9-8, Carlton lead.
Rawlings should have taken that himself and just kicked it deep inside 50.
Oh, well done by Houghton. Down at the face of McKay. Missing it altogether was Franchina. The ball spills now. Koutafidis kicks it back to the wing. Contest provided by Houlihan over the top of Bowyer. In goes that hard nut Vandenberg. May have surrendered the ball. He got it back. Bowyer did well. Vandenberg's kick to half forward. 4 Carlton players. They're worried, the Blues. Silvani dives on the football. Anthony Rock couldn't get it away. In they go with desperation. 50 metres from the Hawthorn goal. The Blues are clinging on. 12-7 to 9-8, close to three-quarter time. And the Hawk fans have had something to shout about in the last 10 or 12 minutes.
Well, isn't it applied pressure that starts to come on board, and that's what we're seeing here with Carlton.
McKay, Freeborn, released from half-back. Maybe not enough time left. The kick will be marked, and is well marked by McFarlane.
Great quarter, Hawthorn.
Tremendous quarter by the Hawks. They were looking down the barrel to a certain degree, and the third quarter was pressure football, and certainly most of that pressure applied by Hawthorn. 12-7-79 Carlton, 9-8-62 Hawthorn, Carlton by 17 points.
Yeah, fantastic quarter by the Hawks. They've kicked 8 goals to 2 to give themselves a real sniff as Peter Swab comes down to the ground. He'll be feeling far more pleased with his charges than he would have been some 30 minutes ago, Jim. The Blues are going to have a look at themselves. They've got a number of their stars not doing enough, and they've opened up the gate.
And with other teams losing this weekend with Melbourne, Geelong, Richmond, it's really putting Hawthorn in a good position if they can take the points here today.
So as Shane Crawford musters the forces and inspires his charges on. We go to the break at three-quarter time with Carlton slightly in front.
I just wonder, you know, you'd expect Carlton to kick a couple of goals in this last term, which means that Hawthorn have got to equal their best full quarter effort in the game. They kicked 5 goals, 3 in that third term. The Blues just 2. They must concentrate, Hawthorn, on restricting Carlton's opportunities. If they kick 2, the Hawks have got to kick 5 to get over the top of them. Ratton's back in the middle at the start of the last term, and he is very much the engine room of the Carlton performance. So we'll watch with interest, folks. Stay tuned. We've got about 24 minutes of exciting football left. When it looked a one-way race, the Hawks have certainly provided some sort of a contest, and they go forward. McKay provides a good punch, but the rebound comes back in the direction of Fletcher. Did he get rid of the ball? Good, gee whiz. Put your heart. Very, very close there. It was beating, wasn't it, from a Carlton point of view, as Simon Fletcher gathered it half forward for Hawthorn, and the umpire deciding on a bounce. First score in the last term, all important. If it can go to Hawthorn, by gee whiz. We'll wait with anxiety then from a Carlton point of view. Kicked away by Camporelli. Back to the middle. It was a good mark. Taken by Houghton. Handball away. Run provided by Franchina. Franchina's kicking towards full forward. Mark taken by Hay. And congratulations to Jonathan Hay, because he's playing on the gun forward at the moment. Apart from Wayne Carey, Lance Whitnell has been terrific, but Jonathan Hay has cut him down. Good mark to Hamill. Awkward floating ball. Took it in front of his face. Fed it off to Camporelli. Camporelli in towards Whitnell. Ball spills to the back. Opportunity here for Ratton. Run down. Got the handball away. Franchina. That was a very ordinary kick by Franchina. Up and under. Whitnell trying to get rid of his opponent. Still Whitnell. Left foot snap at goal by Lance Whitnell. He's missed. 1 goal, 2 to Whitnell. He kicked 9 against Brisbane last week. Just 1 so far in this match.
Brett Ratton has started the quarter well, and it's one that Peter Swab should take notice of. If he gets the ball forward to the centre, then Lance Whitner will receive it on the chest, lace out. That was an opportunity that he should have put away, but the Hawks get a piece of luck.
Short kick in has been taken here by Daniel Chick. He goes in towards half-back. Manton just a little late on the scene, and the mark is taken by Rawlings. Got the handball away. Chick, 2 possessions in that passage of play. Goes very wide. Mark taken by Bowyer. Bowyer's on centre wing. Kicks in towards half forward. McKay from the back. Good contest.
Well done,
Hamill did very well.
Yep.
Went in after it again. Ball spills to Woods. He's run down by Lappin. Spilled then to Franchina was it who kicked it forward. Now Hawthorn can get the ball in towards half forward. Good mark taken there by Houghton, who's been quite serviceable. Goes in towards the middle of the ground. Good mark taken by Dean Rice. An important possession there. If Hawthorn could have forced a turnover, they'd have been away and running. Fletcher marks the kick. Where can Fletcher go to? He goes to a 1-on-2, but he looks for the star. And he found the star. He's been well controlled. He's played a fair game. confuse the situation. He's played a fair game, but he's had 17 possessions, and his immediate opponent, Daniel Chick, has had 18. They've kicked a goal apiece, but can't Koutafidis put a bit of a nail down the throat of the Hawk here if he can convert?
You'd have to say, though, ground level, Chick is going to be a better player, but in the air, Koutafidis probably got about 5 kilos and probably about 3 inches on him.
Good kick too. Dropped it on the butte beautifully and threaded it through for a goal. Second goal for Koutafidis, but the all-important first goal of the last term goes to Carlton. They lead 13-8 to 9-8, a margin of 24 points.
And, well, the world-famous flag, the Italian flag there for
soccer tonight.
Big final on.
Tomorrow morning, whenever. It's a bit late, though, 4 o'clock in the morning to be watching soccer.
Be a few people up at Lygon Street if they happen to win.
Oh, yeah.
Great goal.
Koutafidis, the goal kicker. And the 13th goal on the scoreboard to Carlton. So very important, these centre clearances. On this occasion, it's Chick. He couldn't get run down, but he had the pace to run, carry the ball, kick it forward, falling over. Very important here. McKay tries to flick it to the back. It was Harford who fell over. McKay went back and applied the tackle. Beaumont stands tall. Camporelli's short kick is all right. Koutafidis now. Very important possession. Look at that. That's better. Out in front of Whitnell, and Whitnell is marked. Hold on to it. No one to go to. No one really to go to. Ratton, no. Maybe Hamill. Wait till Hamill goes, and then he kicks in that direction.
Kuda goes.
Forward, punched away. Back to half forward proper. Gathered by Porter. Handball off. Freeborn onto his favoured left. Freeborn, goal Blues. Well done, Porter.
There's a significant passage of play. Great contribution there by the young man who's come back into this side. Matthew Allen out with the injury. The posterior cruciate gives him a window of 6 to 7 weeks in which to impress the Carlton selectors, to make a stake for a spot in what's surely going to be a finals combination. And Scott Freeborn also doing what he does best, just fading onto that left leg. Half a chance presented, and he took full toll.
Well, the Hawthorn coaches box now, they watch their side get right back into this game with a meritorious third term. They kick 5-3 to 2-1, but the first couple of goals of the last quarter of the Blues has made it extremely difficult for Hawthorn. Now Carlton lead by 5 goals.
The Hawks need the next 1 or 2 for sure, Robbo. Fletcher
gathers, handball, look for Franchina. Bradley gives away back to Fletcher. Fletcher looking, kicking, coughing it up. Mark taken by McCabe for the Hawks. Handball over the top. Running player in support was McFarlane. Run down. Good tackle, Rice. Camporelli grabbed the player, didn't have the ball. Camporelli to Porter. Porter over, wider still to Lappin. Lappin looking. Lappin delivering. Houghton not marking. Contest. Good contest provided there. And half forward for the Blues. Umpire Sheehan will bounce.
Well, it looks like with Porter in the ruck, they put Rawlings in there, and obviously with Salmon on the bench. But you'd think that they might bring him on because that last centre bounce, just a whopping hit there from Porter.
So the umpire to bounce. Houghton and Bowyer. Bowyer gets rid of his opponent. The knockaway certainly advantaged the Hawks. Freeborn's little kick, not bad. Markers taken by Lappin. Freeborn not all that confident off the right, but he did quite nicely. Lappin's kick in towards half forward. Carlton mark.
Great mark.
Hamill had his name written all over the Sherrin there, Aaron Hamill. And a disciplined kick coming in from Matthew Lappin has certainly given Aaron Hamill a chance to get the 3rd goal for Carlton since the start of this quarter, which is only 7 minutes old.
Interesting, the politics of playing a forward line. On that last kick into the forward line that went to Houghton, Lappin copped a bit of a bake from Aaron Hamill because he thought he was clear. Just so happens that 30 seconds later, Aaron Hamill presents himself to Matthew Lappin. Bang, sure enough. It always doesn't hurt to just let a youngster know that you're around and available, Jim.
You don't have to let youngsters. I remember letting a few of my teammates know my time. Todd Viney was one, and the next thing, straight back to me.
Aaron Hamill goes for goal, and I think he's posted it. It's a goal to the Blues. Aaron Hamill kicks his second, and what looked as though we were going to see a very, very closely contested final term. The Blues may have snuffed out any chance the Hawks have had of winning this game, with the first 8 minutes of the last quarter producing 3 Carlton goals unanswered.
Yes, now back to a 6-goal lead, 36 points. Aaron Hamill, what a good kick that was after a magnificent mark.
So 3 quick goals to the Carlton side. They led by 17 at three-quarter time. They now lead by 36. Hawthorn go forward. Manton stands his ground. Got to get a free kick. Yep. Ironical cheers from the Carlton fans. They believe they've been hard done by. Manton's handball releases Ratton, can hang on to the football, and then delivers in the direction of Houghton. No mark taken. Bowyer was third in line. Chance for Porter over the top of Bowyer, he and Mackay. And the umpire will call for a bounce about 75 metres from the Carlton goal. 15-8 plays 9-8. Carlton lead.
You just feel, though, that what we're seeing is this: the Carlton are getting their forward structure working again, with Hamill out there, and now Whitnell starting to sort of give them better contest. Kudafiti's taking marks, kicking goals.
Porter, the ruck contest. Whitnell just dispossessed Piccioni, but he was able to get the handball to Bowyer. He in turn went wide to McFarlane. McFarlane's kick a little off the side, but out to the advantage of Rock. But Anthony Rock having one of the days that he would like to forget all about. He's only had 6 possessions. Spills, and it goes over for a boundary throw in just forward of centre wing, favouring the Blues. Carlton 98, Hawthorn 62. Up over the top was Hamill. Tried to take the ball away, Tony Woods, playing game number 150. And of course, we must also mention, we mentioned this at the start of the game, the Hawks went in without Trent Crode, and they took the disciplinary move of making sure that Chris Barlow didn't take his place at the side. Those 2 players watching on from the grandstand. Good mark taken by Bowyer at half-back.
That's the 8th time now Carlton have gone inside 50 to Hawthorn's 1.
Coughed it up, Fletcher, right in the middle. What will this turnover cost Hawthorn? Silvani, rather ordinary-looking kick in towards the full-forward area. Houghton does well, provides the pressure onto Piccioni. Houghton, and a freeborn in there too. So the umpire will bounce as Bradley takes his place on the interchange bench and probably will stay there, nurturing the ageing veteran. He started brilliantly, 14 possessions and 2 goals to Bradley.
Hawthorn just is struggling to get the ball forward, particularly as soon as it gets to the half-forward line, it just comes straight back.
Kids played well, Fletcher.
Good hands then, wasn't it? The ball coming in emphatically, and he kicks it forward. Kuda locked it beautifully. Away to Houlihan. Houlihan, snapshot at goal by Ryan Houlihan, all the way down there to the goal line, floating through for a behind. Second behind, kicked by Ryan Houlihan. Jumper looks as though it's about 4 times too big for him, doesn't it?
Just thinking maybe a couple of summers he may be able to fill that out.
I think he might be doing just a little weight work over the ensuing 2 or 3 seasons. Hawks have got the ball in the middle of the ground. Johnson has taken that mark and kicks the Hawks across the half-forward line. Fletcher goes back and puts his body on the line. Spillage, Mackay, chance for Woods, gets his right foot to it, in towards the half-forward area. Bounces back in the direction of Fletcher. Gathered very nicely by Crawford. Short kick in towards half-forward. Big punch came from Silvani. The crumbs are gathered by Harford. Left foot snap at goal by Daniel Harford. And Christou can't quite get to the fall of the ball, but safely saw it over for a boundary throw in left forward pocket for Hawthorn. Just when we saw the Hawks make a surge at the Blues during the 3rd term, it has been Carlton that has been steady in the first 12, 13 minutes. Shot at goal being provided there. Was that Hay? Was it Nick Holland? It hit the behind post on the full. So it's a free kick to Carlton in their back pocket to be taken by Christou. He runs across the goal square at which he is defending. Handballs inboard, freeborn. It's a pretty good kick. We've seen him kick a couple of goals. On this occasion, he missed everything and kicked it out of bounds on the full. Well, you wouldn't believe it, would you? Scott Freeborn, a couple of goals earlier in the game, looked at a target and missed the target by a big margin. McFarlane's kick in towards half forward. Contest on that forward 50. Harford gets the ball away and eventually kicked forward again by Holland. Good mark taken by Porter.
He's really starting to step up towards the end. Like he's got better as the game has gone on.
Dean Rice, again, an ordinary kick.
There's no percentage in that kick.
McCabe, left foot kick towards half forward, and Porter does well, goes back. And he just looks as though he's becoming a little bit more used to being out there in this scene, doesn't he?
Yeah, and obviously before he got injured, he was probably the #1 ruckman down there. Alan and him were sort of rotating. Yep.
Well, it could be a big bonus if he can stand up. Koutafidis has taken the ball. He goes across the half-forward line and finds Whitnell. The numbers now certainly in favour of the Blues. Fletcher, a flying left foot shot towards the forward pocket area. Hamill up high, couldn't take the mark. It's been paid. Push out, was it? I thought the umpire may have indicated that he paid the mark.
I think he paid the push, but geez, he always gets a second lift, Aaron Hamill, when he goes for the grab. He's got an tremendous vertical leap, but just didn't look as if there was much there.
Couldn't have paid the mark, could he?
Well, was there a push, do you think?
No.
Oh, well, he got lucky.
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Aspect of his game that I really like is when he gets in, he hits hard.
Yeah.
You know, and in the forward line, I think, Jared, you were mentioning it before, but they've got a bunch of them now that's really beefed their team up from probably 2 years ago.
Hamill going for his third goal. Has hit the post.
I think they're also getting they've had new roles this year. I mean, Aaron Hamill's gone into the centre bounce and become a midfielder at times. That's freed him up and perhaps makes him a better forward. It teaches him how to win footballs in the uncontested area rather than just being on the end of them as you can fall into that habit as a forward. Hickmont, who's off the ground now, injured, one suspects, and it was a star in the first half. He's in a similar situation. You know, he was a forward pocket, but he's playing up on the wing and generally just becoming a midfielder.
Fair point made there by Gerard Healy as we watch the Hawks try and clear the ball of their defensive half of the ground. Hamill working in over the top of his Hawthorn opponent. Daniel Harford and Andrew McKay there. It's Tony Woods on the bottom of that pack. Didn't like the way Aaron Hamill maybe applied the physical pressure, and Salmon preparing to come back onto the ground. 8 3/4 minutes left. What can the Hawks salvage out of the last 8 3/4 minutes of this game? Porter up high. Gee, that was a good tap, wasn't it? Hamill, kick across his left shoulder. The ball gathered by Houghton. Handball away, Ratton. Ratton looks and then kicks in towards full forward. Koutafidis. Oh, how arrogant was that?
Just the strength of body.
Doesn't mean to be arrogant, but by gee, it smacked of it, didn't it?
Well, he just had so much of a strength advantage and a weight advantage. Scooter's 97 kilograms, and it's all muscle. And you just see there, he just lays the body back on Daniel Chick, who's only 83 kilograms. 14 kg difference. It's a massive amount of weight to have to shift. And he's only got a couple of centimetres in height advantage, but the strength is the key factor.
The other ageing veteran of the Carlton side, Stephen Silvani, has come off the ground, replaced by Chris Massey. Oh, beautiful kick, Koutafidis. He's improved in that area as well. 3 goals against the name of the Brownlow medal favourite for the year 2000, Anthony Koutafidis, in a reasonably quiet game by his standards. 22 possessions, 3 goals. Carlton 16th on the scoreboard.
Well, you wouldn't expect him to pick up a Brownlow medal vote, Robbo, but he does everything just so polished and beautifully that, well, who knows who's going to take the umpire's view. But in the end of the day, he's been one of the major differences between these two sides.
So Koutafidis' 3rd goal. The Blues have got their 16th. They've kicked 4 goals to Hawthorn, yet to kick a goal.
Good
and
hands,
an emphatic, wasn't it? Great work by Porter. Camporelli towards full forward, and he's going to get a free kick on this occasion, Koutafidis. Didn't look as though there was much in that either.
He must have just had hold of the jumper, but that's what happens if you get the ball straight out of the middle so quickly. As you said, Porter to Ratton to Camporelli, brilliant stuff. It was just exhibition of the highest order in the middle. And there's the little grab of the jumper against Schick. And Cooter gets another shot from about the same position and the same result.
Well, he's kicked 4.
Well, Jared, you mentioned he probably won't sneak in with a vote, but if he kicks another couple of goals, you'll probably find the umpires will give him a vote.
I'll tell you what, Jim, we'll have a look at that on Brownlow Middle Night, because you're right, sometimes that final 15 minutes can tell.
Well, I'm sitting right between two people who would know something about it, both Brownlow medalists, and we have come to just observe that
Jimmy
the
used to
last
always
quarter
lift his game in the last 10 minutes.
Well, who are the best on the ground? Who are the 3 best players? I mean, in the last term, there's still 7.5 minutes left.
I would have thought Jonathan Hay's been a star, but I mean, Lance Whitnell has also been a very good player, but Hay has, in my view, been excellent.
Whitnell has gone to the bench, actually, Jared, while just before that last commercial break, Lance Whitnell. So there's Lance Whitnell, Stephen Silvani,
Fletcher's been
Bradley.
pretty good.
Oh, very good.
Set up some nice
yes,
goals.
Very
Beautiful
good.
delivery.
Well, it's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, in the 3rd term, when the Hawks kicked 5 goals, there were Hawthorn players who would figure. Pretty good crowd here, as we mentioned earlier, nearly 50,000. I think the AFL would be very happy with that. Hawks 8th on the ladder, the Blues 3rd.
Dean Rice has had a
ran
good
down,
game as well.
Very disciplined, Dean Rice. Freeborn, back to Franchina, Ratton,
Always
lifting
good.
his work rate, Brett Ratton. Kicks in towards half forward, Koutafidis shrugs the tackle and then kicks and finds, yes, believe it or not, it's Andrew McKay, may have a shot at goal. Gee, that was gathered beautifully down at his footlaces by Brett Ratton. Oh, hit the post. Unbelievable, because the hand pass stretched the hamstrings of Brett Ratton coming in from McKay,
And they
but
would
he
have been
gathered it well.
a bit weary also, because he grabbed it on the half-back, Jim,
Right.
and charged through.
And beautiful running, because he doesn't look like he's running that fast, but gee, he covers a lot of ground.
Well, he's won a couple of best and fairest at Carlton, Brett Ratton, and one came in that memorable premiership year of 1995. So he's very highly regarded at Carlton. The
And
Hawks,
everywhere else, for that matter.
well, point taken, Jared, because I think it took him a long time to be recognised by, well, certainly the football public, not necessarily the opposition clubs, but certainly the football public. There's a good mark taken by Salmon in front of Manton.
Dixon just holding someone there.
Kick forward by Lord. And the mark has been taken by Rock. No, touched off the boot. Well, obviously the umpire saw that the kick coming in had been touched. Mark not paid to Anthony Rock. He doesn't agree with that. Be careful, Anthony. Any indiscretion now could be costly.
They haven't scored this quarter yet, Hawthorn, and yet they've been inside 55 times.
Taken by Hamill. Tried to get his left hand to it. A struggle for possession. Woods clears that area. Lord, snapshot, high into the forward pocket area. Christou outmarked on this occasion by Dixon.
Good mark.
It was, wasn't it? He kept his eye right on the ball.
And just used his body, shepherded the player away using his back, and was able to take it just on the line.
Great camera work there, giving you an idea of what confronts Ben Dixon. He's certainly in that right forward pocket, favours his natural left foot. You may see him dive out. No, directly towards the goal and registers a behind.
Should have come around there though, Robbo. You called that right.
2 goals, 2 to Ben Dixon. And in a game last week against Collingwood, he kicked 6 goals. Nick Holland kicked 3. Between them, 9. Today, between them, just 3.
There's a player on the screen, Ange Christou. I must admit, I doubted whether he'd ever come back and play footy. And knowing Gary Lyon and what he went through with his back problem, which was pretty similar, it's just great to see him back there.
Well, he's kicking towards the half-back area. Rice put his body on the line. Massey. Rice again. Opportunity now for Anthony Rock. Run down by Beaumont. Forces a boundary throw in.
Robbo, do you think now where it's going to place them, a loss this week, I'm not sure, they'll probably slip out of the 8. Do you think they can make it though by the end of the season? They've got a pretty tough draw coming up ahead of them.
Well, they're all games that that Hawthorn have to win, and this was a game that I'm sure they went in with a certain amount of confidence. And certainly in three-quarter time, they would have been looking at really rattling the Blues. The Blues only led by 17. But right now, go on, Jared.
Next week they go to the Gabba to take on Brisbane, who are impressive in their victory over the Bulldogs today. Then they've got Essendon, Adelaide and the Western Bulldogs. They're going to really struggle to get there. If they do, they will well and truly deserve it.
O'Reilly kicks the ball forward for Hamill. Back there was Vandenberg. Good pressure provided by Houlihan. Can he run away from Lekas? He can. Handball very wide to Houghton. Back in the direction of Houlihan. He gathers the ball. Lappin was the fellow long sleever. Houlihan's kicking towards full forward. Hamill just nearly crunched his teammate in Franchina. The ball comes wide. Johnson for Hawthorn. Handball away. Opportunity for McCabe. McCabe goes into the middle, and the mark has been taken here by Holland. Holland for Hawthorn. Right in the middle of the MCG. Time ticking away now. We're nearly into time on. The ball spills for Andrew McKay. His little tap advantages Ratton. In turn Fletcher. In turn Camporelli. Back to Massey. It was Massey who gave the hand pass in the first place. He's getting some important ground time, is Chris Massey. So is Stephen O'Reilly. And his hand pass finds Beaumont. Beaumont, just a little overuse of the ball there by the Blues. And the Hawks cough it up anyway. It's Freeborn, kicking it forward and kicking it forward well. Hamill's on the end of it. Aaron Hamill has kicked 2 goals, 2. He will shoot from about 40 metres out directly in front. We asked about the better players on the ground, and
it's a pretty tough one, Robbo.
Well, it's been pretty well spread. A dominant first term by the Blues when they had all the better players on the ground. A dominant third quarter by Hawthorn when they probably had the better players. And so far in the last term, Hawthorn goalless. Carlton going for their 6th goal of the last term. And Hamill has just kicked a goal. 3 goals to Hamill. 18 goals on the scoreboard now to the Blues. And that's probably more like what we thought was going to happen. At quarter time, the Blues led 8-2 to 1-4. And right now they lead 18 goals 11 to 9 goals 9.
Yeah, just also their percentage, Hawthorn, I've got to watch that. You know, they were 100 before they came in, and they usually lose probably 3 or 4 points.
So back at the centre, it has been 6 goals to Carlton so far in the last term, just a point to the Hawks. Porter up early. Salmon knocks it down, gathered by Freeborn. Kicks it with the right in towards half forward. Very well gathered by Hamill to Lappin. Good kick by Lappin. He hooked that kick purposely. And O'Reilly has marked in the left forward pocket for the Blues. An opportunity for their 19th goal, their 7th for the term.
He's probably a player that hasn't really played at the same level as he did when he was over at Freo and at Geelong. Been a bit up and down this year.
Well, the reports coming out of Carlton are that he trains fantastically well. He's a great example, but he would know as well as anybody. He has got a bit of work to do to secure himself a spot in the finals team.
Shot at goal by O'Reilly is disappointing. He misses. So his first score in this match, just a behind. The Blues have had 11 goal kickers. And on the other hand, Hawthorn have had 6. John Barker is the leading goal kicker for Hawthorn. He's kicked 3. Ben Dixon has kicked a couple. Jonathan Hay kicks the ball long out towards the wing. Gee, that was a good effort by Porter, wasn't it? Came from completely out of position and fed it off to Koutoufides. His kick, gathered by Houlihan. Look away hand pass. Didn't quite go far enough for Camporelli. Beaten for it on that occasion by Aaron Lord. He's going nowhere. And it will be thrown in the left half forward area for Carlton.
And Mark Porter once again, he's been most impressive in this final term, Jim.
Yeah, he's really starting to say, look, I want a spot in this team. I want to be there. Comes August this year, not September.
Another veteran for Carlton coming off to be replaced by the oldest player in the caper, Craig Bradley. He, with Paul Salmon, 2 of the stars of the game over the last 10 or 15 years. and both figuring in this game. He's looking for it here. Massey ignored him. You won't get a game next week. You won't get Bradley's vote on the match committee, Chris Massey. He went for Franchina, Fletcher, Hawthorn, McKay. Good kick. Ratton couldn't quite get to the fall of the ball. Koutafidis can. Athleticism to Byrne. Kicks in towards full forward. Mark was well taken by McCabe. Luke McCabe across that full back line. Kicks it to Rawlings. Rawlings in the left back pocket. Just time ticking away now. Hawks probably won't score again. It's at left half back. There's Johnson. And put out of the misery are the Hawks. And the Blues, after looking just a little shaky at three-quarter time, ended with 6 goals, 5 in the last term. Hawks adding just a point, and a big victory for the Blues, 18-12, 120. Hawthorn, 9-9, 63.
Let us, Rob, be disappointed they didn't fire a shot in the final quarter, the Hawks, with the Blues rampant. Lance Whitnell started the game in sensational fashion, but to the great credit of Jonathan Hay, he fought back and, well, he probably took the honours in the finish. And the Blues, well, they, I think, answered the call of Wayne Britton at three-quarter time. The work rate went back up and they dominated out of the middle, Jim. Yeah, no, absolutely. And Porter, as we mentioned just before the end, really starting to get his hand on the footy and starting to stand up and take some marks. And with Allen out, you know, it's really important that he can do something like that for them, give them first use. 2
players there representing New South Wales and the ACT. Girildery, Shane Crawford, Tuggeranong, Aaron Hamill. So good spirit there shown by those 2 players.
I can't even pronounce those names.
Well, they've done a couple, Tuggeranong. I think Justin Blumfield is from Tuggeranong as well. So it might be a small town, but they feed them well up there in country ACT. Jeez,
I can see a TV program coming out of this. Ian Robertson,
the Tuggeranong boys.
Right around the country. The Hawks, well, they can only think and ponder what is before them. As we said earlier, they've got a very big challenge coming up to maintain their spot in the 8. They may slip out, we'll find out shortly. But they will be desperate against the Lions at the Gabba next week.
So, Jared, this team that's walking off the ground now, do you think they're going to be ready for Essendon? Are they the team that can give them a real challenge in a couple of weeks?
I think that the Blues can knock off the Bombers, and this is a great moment for Dean Rice. 100 games for the Carlton Footy Club. He's played over 200 in his career. He was also a star for the Saints with his many years down at Moorabbin.
And Jared, he's overcome quite a few injuries as well, which I think mentally is an enormous performance as well as physically.
Yes, a couple of reconstructions for Dean Rice, but he's got a flag, and who knows, Jim, he may play in another one at Carlton before his time is out. The Blues finally were victors by 57 points.